So starting off with the code, I've just given a brief pointer about what we are going to build and how we are going to build. Okay, so in the last video where I left, we had a recommender system or a recommendation system, and it is of two types, that is content based filtering and collaborative filtering. Okay, so in the first type, we make recommendations based on user preferences for product features that I've told. Now it can recommend a new item but needs more data of user preference in order to incorporate best matches. Now these type of recommendation systems take in a lot of data, meaning a huge, very big data, and then it is able to precisely tell you what kind of recommendations or would give you a recommendation that might suit your taste. In collaborative filtering, that is the second type, it mimics the user recommendations. Okay, this predicts the user preferences as a linear weighted combination of user preferences. So if you know the math behind linear regression, you know it has some of the features and some weights for it, and it builds a linear function for it. It can go into multinomial form also, but in simple regression, we have a linear function which has features as values for x and its weights, and lastly bias. So in a similar fashion, collaborative filtering also builds a linear weighted combination that is using the user preferences that it has already got from the dataset. One thing to note is that content-based filtering does not require other users' data during recommendations. So, just like I told you about that content-based filtering actually depends on user, but it doesn't mean that it actually depends on users. It only depends on one user for which it is providing you recommendations. Now, you can see that a lot of packages are there that I'm downloading, and you have to also download all of these and then install them, because these don't come as a default with the Google Collaboratory. Okay, so don't be, get scared from whatever I've written here. This is basically an Ubuntu command telling that you have to install the GDAL library. Okay, so first it downloads it and then it installs it from the bin, and it's telling that yeah, you have to use Python GDAL. So this is like for Python, this is for Python 3. So whichever is present, you can just download that. Next thing is that I've already given you a link. Okay, so you must, I think you must go at least at the link and understand why I'm going to use GDAL library. Okay, so this is a library of tools, just like I told you that half of these libraries are just going to be dependencies for GeoPandas or Plotly, or they might be having some features that are, or some functions that are going to be used by Plotly and GeoPandas. Yeah. So GDAL is a library of tools used for manipulating geospatial data, basically geographical data. Okay, and it also comes with a variety of useful commands and utilities for data translation and processing. Now, even if this is not something that you're able to understand, just go through the link. It gives you a basic description of what GDAL does, what it has, and some code implementations of basic functions. So now moving forward, we are now installing R-Tree. So next, that is R-Tree. This is a Python wrapper of Light Spatial Index. This is again another package that provides a number of advanced spatial indexing features for the common Python user. Again, this might not be something that you're able to understand. No problem in it. Just remember this, that R tree is something that is going to be used by GeoPandas. Okay, since all of the languages, say Java, be it Python, or maybe even C++, they have used abstraction. So what you know is the output to a function. It might be like you don't know how that function internally works. That is fine. But just remember the relation between R-tree and GeoPandas, or maybe some other library with another library, and why I have downloaded them or installed them. Okay. So just like I told you about, R-tree has some of the features like nearest neighbor search, clustering indexes, etc. So you can even understand from the name itself, nearest neighbor search. Now in K-means we know we are building clusters and we are searching through them. So again, you might understand that yeah, R-tree might be or might being used somewhere, right? Though it is not used in K-means. Let me just tell you that. And the next library is GeoPandas. Yeah, this is a very main library. So from the name itself gives a hint of what it might be. So GeoPandas is a project to add support for geographic data to pandas objects. Okay, so I've already again provided you with the link for GeoPandas. So you can see from the link provided, if you visit the actual README for GeoPandas, you will understand where we are going to use this library. And rather than just skipping, I would actually, go to this link and show you about GeoPandas. So you can see that the latest version was released on March 1, 2021. It has a lot of collaborators and contributors. And if you scroll down, you can see the introduction for GeoPandas, and you can even go to the docs and see what all functions it has, how to actually use and implement GeoPandas. And you can see that R-tree is another dependency that it requires, and that live spatial index that I was talking about was a C library, for which R-tree was the Python wrapper. Now, what I wanted to show you actually was not all of that, but this. See, this is a borough boundary of New York City. Okay, it is in the format of a Fiona file and read as a zip file, and you can see this map type structure. So you can see that here as an example, it has shown that they are reading the file, and that file is present inside this variable, and if you print this variable, it gives you a map for the boundaries of the boroughs in the New York City. So you can understand from here that yeah, GeoPandas is what we're going to use for mapping or for implementations of maps. Now, why I'm going to use this in this project is shown later on, and it is a pretty cool thing. We are going to build an interactive map, okay, that is present on your Google laboratory file or maybe a Jupyter file. Okay, so moving forward, now the next library is Descartes. So if you don't know about Descartes, then he was a mathematician. Okay, you can even search that. The first time I searched about Descartes, what it showed me was the name of the person, not the Python library. And now installing Descartes, which is actually a dependency required for using GeoPandas. See, just like I told you, half of them are actually dependencies for GeoPandas or Plotly. It basically helps in forming and plotting Cartesian planes. Okay, so you in the last example saw that there was a map defined on a Cartesian plane. Now that was just a static image. To make it more interactive, is what Descartes is helping in. So this is an important library that we are going to use, and I'm talking about Folium. So Folium is a Python library used for visualizing geospatial data. It is easy to use and it is a wrapper for leaflet.js. Now again, Folium is a Python wrapper of a package that is built in JavaScript. And we can also pass rich vectors, rasters, or even HTML visualizations as markers on the map. Again, this might be a little hard to understand what I'm talking about. But what you have to understand is that, say, I've already built an interactive map and I have specified some points on the map. Okay, it might be location of an airport, might be location of a restaurant, might be location of a mall. So if I hover on it, then it gives me extra information. So that hovering interactive thing is what I'm talking about by HTML visualizations on markers. Okay, yeah, as markers. So lastly is Plotly, and when installing Plotly, it is a better version of Matplotlib used for data visualization. We can make interactive and line visualizations over the normal static visualizations of Matplotlib. So just like I told you about, Matplotlib, whenever we are using, gives you a static image. Okay, image is actually static only. But so basically it gives you just an image and you can't maybe change the input or maybe you can't hover on it and understand more about the data, which Plotly is able to manage. And you will see later on. So this is a very large part and I've totally explained the major libraries that we are going to use and you have to install all of these, and this gives you a lot of code and unpacking of code and installing of these code. So ignore that unless it is giving you an error. Even if it's a warning, you can go forward with it, but if it is an error, you might have to search the solution for that. So I've just imported all of these libraries. Here you can see I've imported k-means and a metric that is select score. Again, why we are going to use that or how, I'm going to tell you. The next part is we are actually getting the data. So I told you that this is a Yelp data set and we are getting that data set from a Dropbox, and then I'm just unzipping it so that I can access all of the files or the CSV files of the data set. So this is I would say, a subpart for building the machine learning model. And in the next part, we will start looking at the data set and the exploratory data analysis of what we are going to do. Now, before just going forward, I would again ask you to understand what all of these libraries that I've just downloaded and talked about. Just go through the links, maybe search even more about them so that again later on when I'm giving you the details about the functions that I have used, it might not happen that once I've explained, you might understand it in one go. But if you have learned about the libraries, it might be easy to understand. Okay.